So does everyone see the horizontal lines here where it says 240-minute breakout, daily breakout, and weekly breakout on my PowerPoint? Okay. So let's say I'm a 240-minute trader, and this is my breakout level. So I have a resistance here. It got above that resistance by a certain amount, and that's my entry here, which is a breakout level. Is everyone okay with what I've said so far? Yes? Now, think of it this way. When I put this trade on, let's say my risk is 50 points, and my reward is going to be 150, because I could tell based on the 240-minute chart, my reward is going to be 150 points. Is everyone okay with that? So my reward is 3 to 1. I'm risking 50 points to make 150. Is everyone okay with that? Yes? Now, once the trade enters here, if the price keeps on going up, in this scenario here, if it triggers my daily breakout, I now have the ability to access the reward for a daily time frame. Does that make sense? So on a daily time frame, would you guys agree the reward is typically higher than a 240-minute because it goes for longer time? Yep. So would a reward of 300 points be feasible? If I'm seeing 150 points on 240-minute, do you think 300 points on a daily is feasible? Yes. So think of it this way. I'm entering on a 240-minute time frame where my risk is 50 points and I see a potential 150 points. Price triggers the breakout entry in 240 and it keeps on going. Eventually it triggers the breakout on the daily time frame. Now what's happening is I'm dipping into that 300 points on the daily time frame. So now I have a potential of not just 150 points. Now I have a possibility going up to 300 points. Does everyone see that? And if the price keeps on going up and it triggers the weekly, and the weekly gives me the ability to have a 500 points for reward, I'm now dipping into that 500 points reward. I still have the same risk, which is based on the 240, but now what happens, my reward has opened up because my price has broken different time frame levels. Do you guys see that? So by making sure that I had a strategy on the 240 daily and weekly, and when price moved up, I basically tapped into the rewards of my higher time frame, but I kept the risk of my trading time frame. So if my trading time frame gives me a 3 to 1, and now I tap into all the way up to the weekly, do you think you have a possibility of 8 to 1 or higher? You do, don't you? That's what we're doing here. We're creating a domino effect, and what we're doing is that we're looking for strategies on different time frames, and what we're doing is we're lining up these dominoes with certain distance between them. So when one domino falls, it triggers the breakout for the other one, and vice versa, and so forth. So we access the reward risk for different time frames. Does that make sense to everyone? It's the most bizarre thing, but I basically came up with this concept by watching dominoes over and over on YouTube. Yes, I'm a little crazy. Says, what would you be a scenario in intraday time frames that should be used in terms of time frames or sync? Give me a second. We're going to get to the real-time scanner, and at that point, I'll show you those examples in a minute. Okay? Darren, you're ready to start trading. I know I could see you becoming impatient. So this is just an illustration here of what can happen. Okay? The key thing is that you got to have a strategy on a 240 daily and weekly. If you don't have a strategy on the daily, there's no way you can get to the weekly. You guys understand that? Yes? Okay? So the strategies, by having a strategies there, it makes sure our dominoes are spaced out equally, where if one drops, it will trigger the effect of all the other dominoes. Okay? Now, here's an example here of an email alert. And this is what I call the domino effect. Everyone okay with this? Yes? Now, in here, let's pick an example. Let's look at CAD Switzy, which is right here and right here. Everyone okay with that? So if you look at it, it's in a 240-minute row, which is right here, and it's also in the daily time frame row. So it's in 2 rows, agreed? Yes? So would you expect this to be a 2 time frame buy since it's in bullish, or a 3 time frame buy, or 4? How many time frames do you think this is a buy? Mike says 2. Almost everyone is probably thinking 2. It's wrong. And this is probably where we get tons of emails where you may get a 4 time frame buy email and you may see an instrument in 2 rows only. Okay? And that's the most confusing thing. And a lot of people don't read the disclaimer at the bottom where I do explain that to you. Okay? And here's why. We only put an instrument in a row if it's a 2 time frame buy. That means it's got to have an Ichimoku strategy on the trading time frame and also the higher. If you notice here, I show you the trading time frame, but I don't show you the higher time frame at all. Okay? So this CAD Switzy is a 2 time frame buy. It's a Ichimoku strategy on a 240 minute, and there's also a strategy on the higher time frame, which I don't show you. So you can't just sit there and look at this and say, well, it's in 2 rows, so this is a 2 time frame buy. You cannot do that without the way we've done things. Everyone understand that? Before, we did show you the higher time frames and you could count them up, but what happened was that people were taking the trades at the higher time frame, and I don't want that at all. If you're going to take this trade here, I at least want to make sure that the higher time frame has a domino, enough spacing to a point you have a potential of making a good reward to move your stop and to get to a point where you reduce your risk right away. Everyone understand that? Yes? Okay. So, is everyone clear that just because it says 4 time frame email doesn't mean it has to be in 4 rows? Okay? Don't worry about counting these. I'm telling you, if there's an error there, I'll notice it. Because if I'm using these tools every day to trade, you don't think I'll notice the errors? I would, wouldn't I? Yep. Okay. The other thing is, notice in parentheses, I got 2s and 4s. So you could actually see the strategy that's going on in each time frame, can't you? Yes? So we only, on these email alerts, look for 2s and 4s. That's it. In this example here, this is a CAD Switzy. The higher time frame is the daily. So if you look at it, there's a strategy on the 240 minute. The higher time frame is a daily. It's in the daily box too. So the higher time frame for the daily is weekly. So it's weekly here. So if you count it up, that's a 3 time frame buy for the CAD Switzy right here. Is everyone okay with that? Yes? Now, let me ask you a question. You have an Ichimoku strategy on the swing trading, which is 240. Then you have an Ichimoku strategy on the long term, which is here. What are you missing? You don't have an Ichimoku strategy on what? The day trading time frames, do you? Do you? That means the swing traders and the long term are thinking bullish, and they're ready to go bullish. But are the day traders ready to go bullish? No. Because you don't have anything in a 10-minute box or a 30-minute box, do you? So, Mike, are you still lost? Okay, so think of it this way. The day trading time frames are 10 and 30. Would everyone agree? The swing trading time frames are these right here. Sorry, it's a little hard to Draw this stencil and do that. And the long term is right here. I'm just going to call it LT. Everyone okay? This cat switzy is in a swing and long term, but it's not in any of these boxes here, is it? That means the swing traders in long term are all ready to go bullish, but the 10 and 30 minute are not there to support you at all. So do you think your probabilities are high or low? Low. For the email alerts, I always want to make sure that I have an instrument in one of each of these zones. So I make sure that I have them, the day traders, swing traders, and long term thinking the same way. Everyone okay with that? Okay? So any questions on the email alerts, because that's a wrap up on the email alerts. Next stop is the RT scanner.